Roger Federer, the maestro. Every tennis fan dreams of perfection. Federer's fans believe they've already seen it. Roger entered the big stage in the late 1990 seconds, and by 2003, when he lifted his first Wimbledon trophy, a new era had begun. 20 Grand Slam titles, 103 ATP trophies, and 310 weeks as world number one. Numbers that don't just tell a story, they define an era. But it was never just about the records. Federer was different. His footwork was silence. His movement, pure rhythm. He played as if the court itself was his canvas. Fans call him the maestro, not for what he won, but for how he won. When the GOAT debates start, Djokovic fans bring stats. Nadal fans bring heart and fight. Federer fans, they just smile. Our champion already proved everything, just in a different language. He retired in 2022, but to his followers, he never truly left. He's still there forever on match point, where beauty matters more than victory. For them, Roger Federer isn't just the greatest of all time. He's the reason tennis became an art form. Rafael Nadal, the gladiator. If Federer is art, Nadal is willpower. He doesn't paint, he carves victories out of pain. Rafa burst onto the scene in the early 2000s, and it didn't take long to realize this guy was different. In 2005, he won his first Roland Garros title, and from that moment, clay became his kingdom. 22 Grand Slam titles, Olympic gold, and more than 90 ATP trophies. But for Nadal, it was never just about numbers. Every point is a battle. Every fall a chance to rise again. He doesn't wait for mistakes, he forces them. He plays with the kind of intensity that makes every rally feel like survival. His fans are his army. They've seen him broken, limping, bleeding, and still finding a way to win. For them, Nadal isn't just a player. He's proof that heart can outlast talent. If Federer is elegance and Djokovic is calculation, then Nadal is pure soul, a heartbeat that doesn't stop until the last point is his. When he clenches his fist, wipes the sweat, and yells, "Vamos!" the entire sport seems to pause because everyone knows the gladiator has survived the arena once again. Novak Djokovic, the machine. If Nadal is heart and Federer is inspiration, then Djokovic is pure calculation. He doesn't search for beauty, he searches for a way to win, and he always finds one. His game is built like a perfect machine. No wasted motion, no weakness, no accident. Djokovic broke into the elite in the mid-2000s, spending years in the shadows of Federer and Nadal. But when his time came, he didn't just catch up, he rewrote history. 24 Grand Slam titles, more than anyone in the sport's history. Over 400 weeks as world number one, dozens of records. And he did it all with the expression of a man simply doing his job. His fans aren't just supporters, they're believers. They see in him the fighter who was never fully embraced, the man who conquered everything, not through love, but through relentless precision. Djokovic doesn't play for applause. He plays for control, for the perfect point. He doesn't crush opponents, he dismantles them, piece by piece, until their confidence disappears. To some, he's the villain. To others, the greatest who ever lived. But even his critics agree on one thing. In a sport driven by emotion, Novak Djokovic proved that cold focus can be its own kind of art. Andy Murray, the fighter. He was born in the wrong era. In any other time, Andy Murray would have been a dominant champion. But fate had different plans. He had to live in the age of three titans. And still, he never gave up. He didn't just survive among them, he became the fourth pillar of the golden era. In 2012, he won Olympic gold in London in front of his home crowd. A year later, he conquered Wimbledon, the first British man in 77 years to lift that trophy. Then came another Wimbledon, another gold medal, and the world, no one ranking. Only 3 Grand Slams, but maybe the hardest 3 anyone's ever earned. He was never perfect, he shouted. He argued, he played through pain. But that's exactly what made him real. Murray fans respect honesty. They know he's not a myth, he's human. And that's why his victories hit deeper than most. His story isn't about greatness, it's about endurance. About a man who fell, broke down, had hip surgery, and still walked back onto the court when doctors told him to quit. When Andy plays, it's never just a match. It's a fight against pain, against time, against fate itself. And every time he whispers, "Come on," the world knows the fighter is still standing. Nick Kyrgios, the showman. He's not like anyone else. No academy could have built him. No system could have shaped him. Nick Kyrgios is chaos, talent, and honesty all in one. He doesn't always win, but he always puts on a show. When he arrived on the scene, tennis changed. In 2014, at just 19, he stunned Rafael Nadal at Wimbledon. Since then, every match has felt like an event unpredictable, electric, impossible to ignore. His serve hits like a cannon. His emotions swing like a storm. He can destroy a top player one day and lose to a qualifier the next. Kyrgios fans aren't just supporters, they're an audience. They don't come for consistency, they come for truth. Because Nick says what he thinks and plays what he feels. Yes, he breaks rackets, argues with umpires, and sometimes loses control. But he also turns tennis matches into theater moments people can't stop talking about. He doesn't chase approval, yet somehow he fills stadiums. To some, he's a disgrace. To others, a breath of fresh air. He's chaos with a purpose, the rebel who refuses to pretend. Maybe that's the real magic of Nick Kyrgios. In a world full of perfection, he's the one who dares to be real. Serena Williams, the queen. There are players who win, and then there are players who change the game itself. Serena Williams belongs to the second kind. She didn't just win tournaments, she redefined what it means to be a strong woman in sports. When she claimed her first Grand Slam title in 1999, no one could have imagined it was the start of a new era. 23 Grand Slam titles, 319 weeks as world number one, 4 Olympic, gold medals, and countless barriers broken along the way. Serena played with a power women's tennis had never seen before. Every serve was a statement, every victory a message. Her fans are a nation of confidence. To them, she's more than an athlete. She's a symbol of strength, proof that greatness never asks for permission. They love her not just for the wins, but because she was always unapologetically herself, bold, fierce, real. She could clash with umpires, lose a match, and still remain the most influential woman in tennis. Because even when Serena fell, she did it with the same greatness that defined her triumphs. To her fans, she's not just the GOAT, she's an era, and a reminder that sometimes being a queen isn't a title, it's a state of mind. Carlos Alcaraz, the prodigy. In sports, people often say the next generation is coming, but rarely does someone arrive truly ready to replace legends. Carlos Alcaraz is the exception. He didn't wait for the old guard to step aside, he faced them head on and took the crown himself. In 2022, at just 19, he won the US Open and became the youngest world number one in tennis history. A year later, he conquered Wimbledon against Novak Djokovic in a 5-set epic that felt like a passing of the torch. That day, the world realized a new era had begun. Alcaraz plays with a smile, but behind it lies a ruthless instinct. He combines the best of those who came before him, Nadal's intensity, Federer's grace, Djokovic's confidence, and somehow makes it all look effortless, like a kid still playing for fun under the summer sun. His fans are the new generation. They don't argue about who's the GOAT, they just enjoy watching something fresh, fearless, and free. Carlos Alcaraz isn't just a champion. He's a reminder that the future doesn't wait its turn. It walks onto the court and wins. Jannik Sinner, the Iceman. Jannik Sinner's fans are different. They don't shout, they don't argue online, and they don't compare him to anyone else. They simply believe in order, in a world where focus and precision decide everything. Sinner entered the tour in 2019, a red-haired kid from the Italian Alps who looked more like a skier than a tennis player. But within a few years, everything changed. First title in Sofia, Grand Slam quarterfinals, the Davis Cup in 2023, and then 2024 the peak. An Australian Open title, the ATP Finals runner-up, and a place among the world's top 3. For his fans, it wasn't a sudden explosion of fame, it was the natural result of a simple formula: work plus discipline plus silence. Sinner's supporters are people who appreciate the details. They don't crave drama, they study footwork, timing, first serve percentages. They know Jannik isn't the loudest player, but maybe that's why he's becoming the most consistent. They don't care about GOAT debates. What matters to them is watching this quiet kid from the mountains turn focus into art, one match at a time. When Jannik steps on court, his fans don't expect fireworks, they expect perfection. And when it comes, they just nod and say, that's what the future of tennis looks like. Daniil Medvedev, the strategist. Daniil Medvedev's fans are the calmest and the most dangerous. They don't argue, they analyze. They don't care about drama or emotion. They look deeper into the logic behind every point. Medvedev broke into the elite in 2019. Tall, awkward, with a strange walk, he looked like someone who wandered onto the court by mistake. But a few months later, everyone realized this wasn't chaos. It was a system. A US Open final against Nadal. Then, in 2021, the title-stopping Djokovic just one win away from a calendar Grand Slam. World number 1. Dozens of top 10 victories. And a playing style that nobody fully understands, but nobody can solve. His fans don't see beauty in movement. They see it in decision-making. They value brains over power, control over chaos. They don't need Medvedev to smile. They just want him to outthink his opponent, to troll them with tactics instead of words. Medvedev fans love when a match turns into chess, when every shot is calculation, not instinct. They don't cheer, they observe. And when he stands 10 feet behind the baseline, returning everything in sight, they just sit back with a quiet smirk because they know the game is already his. To others, it looks boring. To them, it's pure satisfaction. Because Medvedev fans don't crave drama, they enjoy intelligence. Gael Monfils, the entertainer. Gael Monfils' fans aren't just spectators. They're an audience, the kind you find in a theater, where every point is a performance. They don't come for stats or trophies. They come for the show. Monfils never broke the rules. He turned them into an art form. Jumping over the net, sliding into splits, diving for impossible shots, and somehow doing it all with rhythm, like he's dancing, not competing. His fans are connoisseurs of chaos. They don't need him to win titles. They just need him to be himself, unpredictable, joyful, real. Yes, he's made only one Grand Slam semifinal and never won a Masters 1000 title. But for his fans, that doesn't matter because Monfils isn't about records, he's about emotion. They love when he smiles after a rally, even if he loses the point. When he jokes with the crowd, tries something wild, or turns a routine match into pure theater. Monfils fans are people who choose joy. They know sport can be more than just results. And when Gael launches himself through the air, they stand not because he won, but because he reminded them tennis can still be beautiful, even in defeat. To them, he's more than an entertainer, he's inspiration. And every match isn't just competition, it's a show, and he's always the star. Stan Wawrinka, Stan the man. Stan's fans believe that greatness shouldn't come easy. They don't look for perfect champions, they admire the ones who win through pain. Stan rose in the shadows of giants. Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, they ruled the world, and it seemed there was no room left for anyone else. But Stan didn't complain. He just worked, year after year, loss after loss, until his moment finally came. Australian Open 2014, he beat Rafael Nadal and became a Grand Slam champion. Then Roland Garros in 2015 and the US Open in 2016. 3 different surfaces, 3 different slams. Each one against a member of the legendary Big Three. Wawrinka's fans understand the value of silence. They don't argue online. They remember the comebacks, the clenched fist, the quiet roar, the words, "Stan the man." They don't need him to talk big. They've seen the man with the one-handed backhand break through a system that was never meant for him. Wawrinka fans are believers in patience. They don't chase trends. They respect those who keep fighting even when it feels too late. Because Stan proves something simple, some legends aren't born, they ripen. Alexander Zverev, the contender. Alexander Zverev's fans are built for the long game. They don't believe in flashes of brilliance, they believe in the grind. Season after season, tournament after tournament. Their arguments are simple and heavy, like his serve. Tokyo 2021 Olympic gold, ATP Finals titles 2018 and 2021, Grand Slam Finals the US Open in 2020 and Roland Garros in 2024, years spent in the top 5, dozens of ATP trophies, wins over the Big Three. For his fans, that's not noise, that's proof of class. They also remember the other side. Paris 2022, that brutal twist of the ankle in the semifinal against Nadal, when everything could have ended. And then the comeback, slow, stubborn, full of tough wins that brought him back to the sport's biggest stages. Zverev's fans are defenders. In debates, they don't shout, they argue with facts. The maturity and pressure moments, the 220 km/h serve, the calmness in tiebreaks. To some, he's the eternal next in line. But to them, he's the leading contender of the post-Big Three era. When Zverev steps up to serve for the match, his fans don't hope for a miracle, they expect execution. Dominic Thiem, the believer. Dominic Thiem's fans are the ones who never lose hope. They understand that a champion's path is never straight. Sometimes, it runs through pain, doubt, and long shadows. With his heavy forehand and endless stamina, Thiem seemed born to challenge the era of Djokovic and Nadal. And he did. 4 Grand Slam finals, and the 2020 US Open title in a year when the world stood still. He became a champion everyone believed in, except himself. Then, everything fell apart. A wrist injury, losses, self-doubt, years of recovery, all after he had already reached the top. But his fans never left, because they don't follow him just for the wins. They follow the man who keeps fighting, even when no one expects him to. They don't see numbers, they see resilience. In their eyes, he didn't fall, he just chose a different path forward. Thiem's fans are people who know how to wait, because they understand. A true champion isn't the one who never falls, but the one who finds the strength to rise again, even when it hurts to look up. Frances Tiafoe, the showman. Frances Tiafoe's fans are pure energy. They don't sit still. They don't talk about serve percentages or unforced errors. They move with him. They come to matches not just to watch, but to celebrate. The son of immigrants from Sierra Leone, he grew up next to a tennis center where his father worked as a janitor. His story isn't about privilege, it's about possibility. And his fans feel that every time he steps on court. When Frances plays, they don't just see an athlete, they see a dream that came to life. His smile is contagious, his reactions are real. His style a mix of street swagger and childlike joy. The 2022 US Open semifinal was his moment. He didn't win, but he didn't have to. That run made tennis louder, brighter, more human. Tiafoe's fans are people who choose joy. They don't wait for perfection, they wait for the magic. The behind-the-back shot, the grin toward the crowd, the blown kiss after match point. They know he might never win 20 Grand Slams, but every single point he plays feels like something worth remembering. Because when Frances Tiafoe smiles, tennis smiles with him. Iga Swiatek perfection. In a world of chaos, there's one constant, Iga Swiatek's stability. When she burst onto the scene in 2020, winning Roland Garros at just 19, many thought it was a one-time spark, but her fans knew it was a system. Since then, 4 Grand Slam titles, years spent at world number 1, and countless matches where she dominated not with emotion, but with logic. Swiatek's fans are analysts, perfectionists, and quiet thinkers. They don't crave drama, they crave balance. They don't talk about fashion or attitude, they talk about rally length, shot selection, and first strike precision. For them, every Iga victory feels like a solved equation, clean, structured, inevitable. They admire how she turns control into art. And yet, they love her not only for her perfection, but for those rare human moments. A deep breath before a serve, a trembling hand, tears after a win. Because that's when they're reminded even perfection can feel. Swiatek's fans see beauty and focus. For them, tennis isn't just a show, it's science with a heartbeat.